Okay, so what we have here is a base station, and the base station is Wi-Fi enabled. So you talk to the base station through Wi-Fi, and then that Wi-Fi is talking to 5 scopes. They call them scopes, and the scopes are able to measure temperature, relative humidity, light, and pressure. And so the idea is you will fix these to some sort of cell culture, some sort of microbiology experiment, and then you'll be able to track the status of that experiment. Now, the battery life on these scopes, they're Bluetooth, and they continually transmit their status. It's about 4 weeks, and they've got quite good power management on board. So, yeah, in summary, there's a base station which sits in the lab. It's then Bluetooth connected to these scopes. The idea then is you fix a scope to onto or next to an experiment, and it will constantly measure, and you will log temperature, relative humidity, pressure, and light. And the idea is it increases your kind of quality of science. You know, did that cell culture, did that microbiology experiment run the same way that I did it last week? You know, were the conditions exactly the same? So this is part of the Internet of Things, and part of trying to make some of these experiments more consistent by continually data logging them. Okay. Hi, so I just showed a first half of this video showed the hardware, now I'm just showing the software. So effectively, the software resides on the base station. So I just connected to the base station via Wi-Fi, and so there's no installation of software. It's quite nice like that. So there's a base station, which is really a hub for all the Bluetooth scopes. So I have a sort of dashboard, assays, and scopes. So at the moment I have a well, let's go back to the dashboard. So I have an assay running at the moment, and an assay is effectively the idea that you're going to put one of the scopes onto let's say a petri dish if you're doing some sort of cell culture work, but you're going to put it onto the cell division type experiment, and you're going to leave it there, and it's going to monitor. So I've got one running at the moment. So let's have a quick look at this guy. So it says Martin's wristwatch. That's the name of the experiment that I'm running. I can see the current conditions, which is 28.7, relative humidity, pressure, and light. The light's quite low. It's very, you can see it's pretty dark in here. Then we've got readings. This is kind of interesting because this experiment now has been running for about 13 hours. So I'll go back to the beginning. So I started this experiment last night. And I can see it's kind of been all fairly stable. And now we're 13 hours into the thing now. So you get all the conditions, and you can turn, you can see what you want to see. Brightness, which has just appeared down here. Air pressure, which is not quite so interesting, I appreciate. Temperature and humidity are not bad. It's interesting to see some of the temperature and humidity data. So the idea is you affix these scopes, next experiment, and literally it's a data logger then. It's a nice data log because it doesn't have lots of cabling, it's all Bluetooth. So we have a dashboard. We have assays that are running. We have scopes. So at the moment we've got this scope. I got one scope, and its battery life's at 89%. It predicts that it's going to run for about a month on that kind of battery, which is good. So this is the software. It's quite intuitive. There's no installation of software or anything like that. It's just you just have to log on to this hub. And I've also experimented, like, you know, if the Bluetooth is taken away by that, if you take the experiment away from the hub, the data is still locally saved, and then it just syncs when the two things come back together. Okay, I hope that's kind of gives you an idea of what we have here.